It looks like it's quite a full house right now. Well, not full house. I mean, we 251 viewers. Not bad. Not bad for just starting. Let's go through some of the chat. Hello, everybody. It's a crazy day, isn't it? It's every time you wake up, it's a whole new kind of crazy. A whole new kind of crazy. Let me see. I've got to be able to share something here. So let me do this. Sorry. Take a little time. 1 second. Stop that share. I'm going to share a different screen here. I have posted, you'll see, I have already posted to join the show live with us later on, not right now. To join the show later, you just click on this link here. Make sure you have a headset connected because otherwise we get all sorts of echo. And I'm probably going to do something a little bit different this time. I might not have the Brady Bunch style with everybody on at the same time. I might. But I'm going to try to bring you on individually because that way we can concentrate on what you want to say and address your questions individually that you come on. You must have a video camera and you must have audio, a microphone, and we'll bring you on the show with us. So that's the link. And I posted that on Twitter first, and about halfway through, I'll post it here in the chat. I see DeForce Skywalker is here. Mr. Cordero. So let me see. Mr. Cordero, good to see you. Brian Carpenter, Penrose, good to see you. Joanne W, Debbie Bird, Stroker 97K1500, good to see you as well. Rex M, good to see you. Wow, whole lot of new names here. Dory Grace, good to see you. Gorgeous Awesome, yes, we're going to be showing Gorgeous Awesome here. In fact, I'll just show that right here at the start. This is one of our sponsors. They're wonderful people, and they have made very, very customized jewelry here out of copper, of course, healthy to wear. Got an amazing pendant, an incredible bracelet, and earrings, all with the 303. And they've lowered the price, $37. It says 3 people have this in their cart. 3 people have this in their cart. Wait a minute. 3 people have this in their cart and they have not followed through yet. Come on, folks. They're wonderful people. Just incredible. You can see them there. We love you. Gorgeous Awesome says, we love you too.
The pendant is so cool, you guys. I love it. It's male or female. I think we gave the one away.
Yeah, we gave one away.
I gave it to Matthew.
Yeah.
Matthew was rocking our house with his new significant other a couple of days ago. We got to spend some time with a Global Witness subscriber and one of our dear friends, Matthew, and his.
He's the one that found Duke and brought Duke, our pit bull.
Yeah.
That is just awesome.
And he's got such a sweet spirit that thank you for gifting us the necklace because we gave it to him and we gave his significant other a pair of the earrings, and they're beautiful. They're just stunning pieces. They look good on everyone. I wear the necklace, and I also, well, until I gave mine away, and then I've been wearing the earrings almost every other day. And now you can get all 3 pieces for, I think, Roxy and Andrew said $111. Don't you love that? $111, no shipping. That's it. So please go to their site, support them because
got the earrings here.
Can you put one in?
Yeah, I could probably, I could put them in.
Put one in.
I have 2 holes in my ears still. I haven't worn earrings in probably 15 years.
I think you should wear one.
And then the bracelet.
Oh, the cuff is really cool because the cuff goes with everything. And then they have all sorts of accompanying pieces that go with all of this. So a lot of folks have reached out to us and asked if they did stonework. That's really what they do. They do the most beautiful copper work and stonework. So, and yeah.
Yes, and look, they made this incredible staff for me. Yeah. This crystal up here, just awesome.
And we are waiting to. Oh, there's the pendant. Oh, that's a great shot, Derek. Keep that one up. See that? And then if someone asks you what the 303 is, then you can kind of tell them the story, and maybe that would lead into telling them about how you have personally gained wisdom and found light and all of those things. And it's just a wonderful way to support. See, that's the close-up of the pendant. It's really awesome.
It's great.
Yeah.
So we want to, first of all, If you haven't seen Naughty Beaver's video today, I would suggest going to Naughty Beaver and watching his video. And so we're just going to cover this before we get into the main subject. I'm going to cover a couple things. I'm going to touch base on a couple things from the last show, and
some confirmations.
Yeah, some confirmations. You know, it's amazing. We did the last show on the metaverse, Omniverse, and just like clockwork, bang, 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 all of these articles. Elon Musk says he's going to be implanting the Neuralink chips in people's heads by 2022. And it's an outpatient surgery. So, you know, not a whole lot of worry about it. I mean, it's outpatient. You know, you just go in there, they drop the chip in your head, and you go home and have a beer or something. So, but we're going to talk about this because this is in AWS. AWS is Amazon Web Services. You see that up here at the top left corner. Amazon Web Services are servers that you essentially build on their services, and you have your servers. And so this is their policy. 4210, acceptable use, safety critical systems. You have to listen to this. Your use of lumberyard materials. Lumberyard is a program that they have. Lumberyard materials are not intended for use with life-critical or safety-critical systems, such as use and operation of medical equipment, automated transportation systems, autonomous vehicles, aircraft or air traffic control, nuclear facilities, manned spacecraft, or military use in connection with live combat. However, this restriction will not apply in the event of the occurrence certified by the United States Center for Disease Control or successor body, a successor. So if the CDC goes away, whoever else is in control of a widespread viral infection transmitted via bites, a bite like a bite, or contact with bodily fluids that causes human corpses to reanimate and seek to consume living human flesh, blood, brain, or nerve tissue, and is likely to result in the fall of organized civilization. Wow. That's in their terms and conditions. Look at this. This is what this is. Let me scroll all the way to the top. All of this stuff. AWS service terms. Last updated, wow, December 10th. So just the day before these tornadoes. Craziness. I think we have a world that is completely out of its mind. But let's go to this confirmation right now.
Do you play video games?
No. So this, again, Amazon Web Services said that. Now we're going to the Metaverse Omniverse. Now this is Keanu Reeves and Carrie-Anne Moss. Now Carrie-Anne Moss, I don't know. She does, if you don't know, she does have a YouTube channel. She hasn't been active on it because she's been working on The Matrix. And, you know, that occupies almost 100% of your time. But they're talking about VR porn. Now, also, VR porn was announced that it is, and you'll see if you go to my Twitter account, which let me just show you that. If you go to my Twitter account, at The Global Witness, just with one S, notice that, one S, you'll be able to see all of my tweets and all of the things that I talk about. And I've got Elon Musk and all sorts of different things that I've been posting about the metaverse and what we're basically what you can anticipate seeing very quickly in very short order. But porn, VR porn, is going to lead the way, just like it led the way for YouTube and all of the media that we do today. The porn industry led it.
No,
but
no,
let's
really?
listen to this.
Even do you play video games?
No.
No, really?
No.
Even Cyberpunk?
No, I mean, I've seen demonstrations, but I've never played it.
Did you know that in Cyberpunk they were hacking a character? You were the most requested hack to make a character that you could have sex with be your character.
Yes.
And it got to a point where the game developer said, no, you can't do this because we're not sure if we have permission to do this.
Oh.
But I mean, now that I have you, like, what do you think about that?
Oh my God, it's always nice when it's nice, and you know.
Yeah. It was affection.
I, on the other hand, say no, thank you.
So
Now, if you know Carrie-Anne Moss and her channel, she said, I, on the other hand, say no, thank you. And then you're going to hear her say in just a minute, I hope I don't see this in my lifetime. Too bad, Carrie-Anne. You're gonna. But listen to, he's flattered by it at first, but then listen to how he goes off here and begins discussing some things, because he's not a gamer. He said, I don't play games, but he understands the technology, and he's quite a spiritual person. Both of these two, as a result of doing The Matrix, have completely changed. And if you don't know, The Matrix, The entire idea of the Matrix came from not even declassified, I think it was leaked, DARPA document. So just so you know, this was actually based on a military research document.
So that's a no,
No,
from
thank you.
But
Keanu's fine with it.
No, because think of how much money is important, right? So you could not even have to be there, and people could have digital sex with your digital avatar. What's that? What's it called right now for members only? You could do a whole thing. Oh my God! And then you get the suit that's probably made in Sweden or some German thing. Oh my God! And then
I
you got
hope
the
that I do
VR
not
thing.
live to see this.
Oh my God! And then they've got the data on you with your your arousal metrics. Oh my God!
I did
Arousal
not see this
metrics.
conversation going
Right.
here. But
So then you're in the suit with arousal.
So you're in the suit with arousal metrics. Now, those are arousal metrics. So Keanu Reeves' arousal metrics will be logged. So what actually does arouse him? The craziness is that will be, you'll have to actually meet those metrics. He's talking about this, like he knows because he's seen this type of thing.
Metrics through your members only Metaverse X.
God help us. That's all I'm going to
And
say.
God
so
help
then
us.
you
With
like
her.
take
God
everything
help us.
off, and then how do you feel about the relationships you're in?
Now, see what he just said? Now you take everything off. How do you feel about the relationships that you're in?
You know, this whole thing has been sold as being intimacy driven. And I can tell you that that is very much the thing that you will be driven away from, is all real intimacy. We see it with our cell phones. We see it with shunning normal conversation and preferring to text. I mean, that's just kind of the toe dipping in the water. And now this will be totally submersive, and it'll see, you know, of course, again, like we said last week, this the big fat apple.
Yep.
And they're going to sell you on the fact that you can have more connection and experience more and see more. They just don't tell you all that other stuff that kind of keeps you sucked in, and the soul sucker that it is. It's
This is the soul sucker. Absolutely.
right.
Great.
What is real? What is not?
Right. But then you hold that real thing,
Oh.
and you're like, oh man, I'm so glad we have reality.
You're going to be hit up as being like a chief creative officer of some porn tech company now.
Oh my gosh, he'd be huge.
Well,
I'll be the ethicist or whatever.
those are my questions. I mean, I feel like we covered a lot of ground.
Yeah.
Hope that wasn't too painful.
No, not all.
Keanu is genuinely a very, very nice man. Very, very down to earth to be the legend that he has become. He is very, very, he's a good person. Let me go to now, this. This is Deborah Tavares. So we're going to go right to the main subject of this.
Yeah, most folks know Deborah Tavares from being interviewed by Israeli News Live, Stephen Yana. Some people have commented, Derek, in this session, live chat section, that they've been very sick. So yes, please lift them up in prayer. But if you remember Deborah Tavares, she is the lady with the blonde hair. She's from California, and she's been doing this for a long time. And her whole family has been in land development. So she's been on the inside of all of this stuff with regard to zoning, planning, land use, and that sort of thing. So she's not ignorant to these sorts of things. And so she did happen to run across a NASA document. I think that was
That's what she's talking
found
about.
recently. And I brought this to Derek's attention today because I said, listen to this, because it sounds really odd that, you think about rewatching The Matrix, the first one, and the pods that people are in. And just listen to this.
Yeah. So remember what I was talking about when I was discussing the omniverse metaverse, that eventually that they would make life so miserable, that life will be so miserable outside the metaverse that they'll force you into it. So you have some relief, that you can get away from the world that they've created. They've created it to be such a disaster that they're going to force you into the metaverse. Now, the thing is that the metaverse will be so appealing and so rewarding when you're in there. That's the apple, right? It's going to taste great. It's just sweet. It's perfect. However, you're going to still have to go to the bathroom. You're still going to have to eat. Well, that eventually will change too, because see, that demand, there will be a feature upgrade. And that feature upgrade will be a G-tube in your stomach and those things. So listen to what she's saying here about these pods or wombs.
father, mother, son, and daughter become useful beasts of burden or trainers of the same. So what they say in this document is they will dole out poisonous foods. It's not what we need, but it's what we want. And those that decide to eat these foods will have the consequences of that.
And by the way, after this show, I will add every single link that I have here into the description box below the video. So you can come back, click on all of these links so you have a reference point for all of them.
They tell us how they set up all the social engineering, how they devise the family, how they crumble the family, how they set up the war machine, how they influence thinking in the family unit to allow the family to give up their children to war for a rich man's fodder. It's a document that discusses the artificial womb. They believe that people need to feel protected and that the elites are going to serve as the womb for protection of the people, that they'll have a place to take cover and hide from the reality of life because we just are not capable of managing the reality of life.
We're not capable of managing the reality of life, and it's so awful. It's so awful that you're going to have to go there.
So they will set up that artificial womb. It says, the objective of these artificial wombs is to provide a stable environment for both stable and unstable activity, to provide a shelter for the evolutionary process of growth and maturity, survival, to provide security for freedom, and to provide defensive protection for offensive activity.
Safety and security. Safety and security. That's how they sell you on this stuff.
And they say that from the time a person leaves its mother's womb, in every effort, every effort is directed towards building, maintaining, and withdrawing into artificial wombs various sorts of substitute protective devices or shells. So they set themselves up to protect us, to keep us crippled, to numb us down with foods so that our pineal gland is interfered with. We're never able to reach our higher consciousness. And right now, the massive fluoridation across the United States is to collapse the ability for us to think. They're shutting us down right now.
So, just as a confirmation from the last show that we did, she's talking about that. All of these things are coming together. People are anticipating this like crazy, and there are crazy worlds. I mean, this guy was talking to Keanu Reeves about it. Say, they're doing this already. It's not like they're not. They're doing it. I would never suggest anybody to go into the metaverse. Somebody will have to help people escape it, I'm sure. That's why Christ went across the river and was touching lepers and all of those things. You're going to have to. So, but let's get to the main subject of why we're here today, because it was this storm that many of you in the chat many of you experienced. I see a lot of people that said, hey, I live in Kentucky and these were really, really, really nasty. Well, we're going to be taking a look at some of those. If you haven't already seen them, we're going to show some pieces. We won't focus a whole lot on that, but I want you to understand the devastation that took place, but why it took place. Now, this is the big problem that people have. They have a problem with this being a hoax. They're like, oh, it's a hoax. Just like I've always said, Sandy Hook or these things that people have said, oh, these are false flags. Yes, but understand that they do kill people in false flags.
False flags, real people.
Real people. It's a false flag because it's an artificial event created to accomplish what they want to accomplish. So this guy says there was nothing natural about the weather and the tornadoes yesterday. Radar clearly picks up a low pressure trough down in Texas that was filled with harmonic scalar wave resonance. The ionospheric heaters heated the air and created an upward draft to form these tornadoes. And he shows this, and I'm going to get to this. I'm going to show this, but before I show it, I want to make sure that you understand that this guy's not, he's not delusional here. And what is on radar is actually happening. But let's go to some of the pieces so you can see exactly what I mean by this.
Outbreak forecast.
But let's look at the gravity and listen to what this guy also says. So I'm adding some pieces up here for you, putting these pieces together so you can then see that what we're talking about here, being manufactured crisis, is very real.
Unfortunately, the outbreak forecast was right. Last night, the deadliest December tornado outbreak in modern history struck the U.S. A wall of nocturnal tornadoes marched across the Mississippi Valley, producing catastrophic damage. One in particular will be forever remembered as the Quad State tornado. It's possible that this monster stayed on the ground for an astonishing 230 miles, starting in Arkansas and then going through Missouri, Tennessee, and then Kentucky. It sucked up an incredible amount of debris, including pieces of people's houses, and this photo from Dawson Springs in Kentucky. It then shot that debris a record-smashing 37,000 feet in the air. That photo, by the way, was flung over 130 miles away, and it was found in Indiana. That's being returned to the owner right now. The true extent of the damage and the total number of dead won't be known for a couple days, so all we can do is hope for the best as first responders continue to dig through the rubble. Unfortunately, the outbreak forecast was
So crazy. More than 30,000 feet into the air, it brought debris and dropped it more than 100 miles away. And that one tornado that traveled more than 230 miles broke records of more than 100 miles as far as distance traveled of major, particularly something like this, which was an F5. And F5 tornadoes were virtually unheard of. F4 was the biggest. They were virtually unheard of until just a few years ago. Just like they were saying, a category 5 hurricane, unheard of. But now all of a sudden we have them. Why? Because we create them.
And because it's hotter than normal in the southeast and the central part of America right now. And there are a lot of reasons for that.
Yes. And so what they want is they want to create things like this massive wedge. Look at the size of this wedge. That wedge is probably 2.5 miles wide. That's the actual tornado caught with lightning behind it, so you could actually see it.
I grew up in Tornado Alley, Derek, in Birmingham, Alabama. We were subject to tornadoes all the time. I've never in my lifetime of almost 60 years seen this wide swath of destruction with a tornado. Many of you, if you've had experience with tornadoes or lived in those areas, you'll know that what I'm saying is true. Normally you'll get and they're very specific. Houses on one side of the street are totally intact and the houses on the other side of the street are demolished. This is an entire town. An entire town was
wiped
taken
out.
And Derek, one of the first things that I noticed, the very first report, 2 Amazon distribution centers were taken out. And you wonder, what could be the motivation for someone to want those distribution centers taken out? I was an insurance adjuster for a long time. And if you think that kind of greed and that kind of fraud does not exist and they wouldn't think twice about taking out a whole town to do it, I'm not saying that's what it is. I'm just saying somebody should research that and find out how old those distribution centers are for Amazon. They're probably some of their oldest and need to be rebuilt.
I'm showing here how Jeff Bezos is being slammed for ignoring the fact that his warehouses were destroyed and people were killed. Collapsed, killed 6 people, and he completely ignored it. He just
more space,
Yeah, he don't care. He doesn't care.
Issues, that important stuff.
But you can see this damage. I mean, can you imagine waking up in your town with this? So this is devastation that is, this is, you're going to walk the streets and you're going to feel like a zombie. Let me see if we can get, there's some other spots, but you can see this. I'll have these links and they're readily available. I think there's probably more drone footage. It's almost like that there were 1,000 drones ready to shoot this thing. But let's go to this. This only has 18,927 views, and it was posted on June 19th, 2015, and it is a movie dating from 1959, released in Technicolor. This Walt Disney film was made with the cooperation of the United States Department of Defense, uses music and animation to speculate on the use of space satellite technology with a coordinated defense network as a means to modify weather. 1959, folks. Now let's just watch this for a little bit. And I'm going to try to shut up for a little bit of it, but I have to comment periodically throughout so they don't nail me for copyright infringement.
Forming today in the Atlantic Ocean.
Oh, by the way, I'm starting this at about 17 minutes in, just so you know the part. But this is them plotting a scenario. And again, always, this is going to be, everything is prefaced with, it's for your safety and security. We're doing it for good reasons. It's always good. We're going to build this stuff. We're going to stop things from happening that are devastating. Watch this.
The electronic weather map shows an intense storm system building up about 1,000 miles due east of Miami, Florida. The controller calls for a close-up satellite view of the troubled area.
Coordinates. Coco 526, Yankee 2.5. Okay, controller. Coco 526, Yankee 2.5.
The characteristic swirling clouds of the hurricane are beginning to form. At sea, the waves anticipate the violence to come. The controller calls for a last-minute prediction of the hurricane's path. If control measures are not begun at once, the hurricane will smash.
By the way, those were oscillators. It's an oscillator, the waveform. So keep that in mind. Just think waveforms.
Across densely populated areas within 48 hours.
11 a.m. EST. A hurricane is forming 960 miles east of Miami, Florida. If control measures are ineffective, it will pass inland at Cape Hatteras in 48 hours. Control operations will begin within 2 hours, but safety precautions should be completed from Cape Fear, north no later than 6 p.m. tomorrow.
At Weather Central, the control strategy is mapped out. A ridge of high pressure slants across the eastern United States between two low-pressure storm systems. If these two storm centers are intensified, the high will build up along the coast, forming a barrier that will turn the hurricane out to sea.
Stand by. Now pulling in satellite number 1 for visual check of low-pressure systems L20 and L21.
The operator brings the satellite into focus on the two storms. One centered over Kansas, the other over Labrador.
Changing the northeastern low, L21.
Now, keep in mind, this was made in cooperation with the Army, the Navy, and the Air Force, and Disney. Nothing like adding Mickey Mouse to the equation.
With the touch of a button, the battle begins. On the ground, chemical cloud seeders begin to work the two storm areas. Robot planes seed the
Chemical cloud seeders. 1959, folks. Chemical cloud seeders.
clouds from above.
Oh, and that one right there. Hold on. Let's go back.
With the touch of a button, the battle begins. On the ground, chemical cloud seeders begin to work the two storm areas. Robot planes seed the clouds from above.
Robot planes seed the clouds from above.
The storm centers over Kansas and over Labrador intensify as seeding continues.
Okay, so an intensive the storm over top of Labrador and where was it? What did you say? Kansas.
Fear.
Kansas.
Was it Cape Fear? I thought he said.
Yeah, but so they're causing a storm in the name of diverting a storm. Makes perfect sense, right? Oh, what about all the people here in this blizzard? What about those people freezing to death that have a storm that they didn't expect to happen?
You know, it's that greater good thing.
The greater good
It's
for the greater number.
good for the greater number argument, always.
Communitarian. Yes, we're doing this for your good, all of us. It's to save us from the big, nasty hurricane. I'm going to freeze 150 of you.
Now changing over to Hurricane Center H8.
The fury of the hurricane mounts as 100-mile-an-hour winds lash the sea to a foaming frenzy.
All stations, Sector C. Activate Phase 2, Control Plan Delta.
Okay, we don't have to watch all of this. You get the picture here. And then we've got here Neil deGrasse Tyson. Now, Malia grabbed this from September 13th, 2013. Neil deGrasse Tyson on HARP and weather manipulation. And notice that YouTube here puts some context in it. Climate change. And this, notice the United Nations, okay? Climate change refers to long-term shifts in temperatures and weather patterns, mainly caused by human activities, especially the burning of fossil fuels. Now, again, you know how I've always told you about, where did I go here? I clicked on that and it took me there. Notice how I've always said that they tell you the truth and the lie at the same time. Well, this is it. It is mainly caused by human activities. It's their activities that cause these things. So they need climate change. They need it to happen because it's their narrative, right? So they're going to cause it to happen. Again, false flags, creating something so you all will react. Well, not all of you. Of course, you're too smart for that. You're here at this channel. By the way, we just broke 83,000 subscribers. Thank you very much.
And welcome, Jacob. I saw Jacob Israel's in the house.
Jacob's in the house. Jacob, if you want to join, you can definitely join in. The link is going to be, I'm going to be putting that link here right now. In fact, I'll do that. This is the link to join if you've got something to say. So let's listen very quickly. This is only 2 minutes and 17 seconds of Neil deGrasse Tyson talking about HARP and weather manipulation.
Now, remember this, Derek, I think, isn't this the one that's 8 years old? I believe this clip is quite old. But
2013.
2013.
Yep.
So the fact that a contextual caveat was attached to this video to me is amazing, because I can tell you that most people who are looking for technological information don't watch videos that are 8 years old. So just saying, he must be over some target here.
No question.
Dana's here too.
Dana.
Gareth asks, I've read some theories that HARP can be used to manipulate the weather. Is this possible?
Yeah, HARP is, Healy, what is it? High altitude
radio pension.
I always forget the acronym.
Yeah.
There are people who are sure that the government is stockpiling aliens and controlling everything about anything we would ever think about. And they clearly have never worked for the government, because the level of incompetence of the government and inefficiency knows no bounds.
Yeah.
But for starters,
it's true that you could manipulate the weather like they did during the Olympics in China. Like, it's not that you can't manipulate the weather. It's that whether you would really have any serious control.
Yeah, a lot of the weather, weather happens in many places. So it comes about from the heat balance, from the energy coming from the sun, what it reflects off of, what it gets absorbed by, what the upcurrents do, what the downdrafts do, what the rotation of the earth is doing. All of this factors in. And so I have not been convinced by any of the reports to suggest that experiments in the upper atmosphere, physics experiments, are having any effect on our weather whatsoever.
Right.
And it would be tragic if we wanted to say, oh, that's why it's getting hotter in the world, okay? Because there's some experiment happening. That would be tragic, because we would be missing the 900-pound gorilla in the room.
Right. And then, but can you...
The carbon dioxide gorilla, yes.
Yes, the 900-pound carbon dioxide gorilla.
The carbon dioxide gorilla caused by us. And we're going to get into that, because we're causing these things intentionally.
All right, here's another question.
By the way, I don't think gorillas can weigh 900 pounds.
Is that true?
Yeah, I don't. The biggest one I've seen was not 900 pounds. 500 pounds, yeah, not 900. So 900 pounds.
Like a pumpkin. I bet there's like a pumpkin that someone has made with a gorilla, like a 500 gorilla holding a 400-pound pumpkin.
That would work, yes.
That would be in the room, which would also should attract attention.
Show. Neil deGrasse Tyson talking about that 8 years ago. And this is from when was this? This is the physicist. Malia, how long ago was this? Did
About
we say
8 years? This is
another 8
clip
years
as well.
So let me just make this full screen here.
And I like the way that the media portrays this as a technology that could potentially be used in the future, when quite clearly 60 plus years ago, Disney did the PSYOP video on it.
Yeah,
and
it's on the, it's always going to be in the
We might
future.
be
It's
able to do
possible.
it.
And by the way, Dana is here. Dana Ashley is here. Jacob Israel is here. There is a link, and I'm going to put it again. If you guys want to join, you're more than welcome to jump on. You don't have to be here for the whole show. You can just come in and say hello. We're going to go to this video now. Listen to this is, I can't remember his name. He's a physicist. I just can't. I'm spacing on his name. Just watch.
I mean, lasers really to change the weather?
That's right. Well, as Mark Twain once famously said, everyone complains about the weather, but no one ever does anything about it. Well, instead of doing a rain dance, we physicists are firing trillion-watt lasers into the sky to actually precipitate rain clouds and actually
trillion-watt lasers
to bring down lightning bolts. This is potentially a game changer.
To bring down lightning bolts. He will bring fire down from the sky in front of people.
But this is experimental.
It's experimental. However, in the laboratory so far, it works. When you have water vapor and you have dust particles or ice crystals, you can precipitate rain.
I mean, lasers really to change the weather?
Is that crazy or what? Lasers to change the weather.
That's right. Well, as Mark Twain once famously,
nobody's done anything about the weather. Well, I guess we're doing that now. So let's, and here's an article.
China's been doing it.
Yeah, and we're going to get to that too. Spokane Daily Chronicle, and this is from 1978. Control over weather seen within 10 years. So you can read this article. This is also on Twitter. Crazy. But let's listen to this guy, and I want you to pay close attention to what he's showing here. And I'll try to stop and give you some examples, because then you're going to see when we start going through the different articles, when they talk about this stuff. We're going to go through here. Beijing, what are they doing? Chinese Communist Party marked its centenary with major celebration in Beijing's Tiananmen Square. How China manipulated weather conditions to make the sun shine on their CCP celebration. How nice. But let's watch. This is the weather system from last night.
Notice the ring of heat.
Notice the ring of heat. So you can see here, hopefully you can see my cursor. I can see it up there. You see this ring of heat right here that he's talking about. He's going to show two different angles. He's going to do different radar looks at this to show you what's happening. Watch how things change when it gets into this circle. And look at the beams here. See these? See these? They'll say, I've heard people say, that's just static from the radar. No, this is radar picking up things coming here. Look where they're pointing to. Right to here, right to the center of the heat. Now he's going to change the view and reload it. Takes a little while to load. He's got a slow internet connection. See, 1 bar. Now, check this out.
There's your heat.
There's your heat. Look at this. Look at this black band around this. Now,
microwave pulse.
Yep. Microwave pulses. That's purely Harp, folks. 100% Harp. 100% Harp. This guy has amazing. Now, it's also showing these clouds. We're going to get into this because I'm going to be playing a little bit of Dane Wigington. If you don't know Dane, I've known Dane for a lot of years. I haven't spoken to him in years and years, but I've been out to his area in Shasta, California. And Dane Wigington, if you don't know, he has geoengineeringwatch.org. He's been doing this for more years than you can imagine. He is probably the most educated person on this. So if you haven't gone to Dane's channel, Dane Wigington, just type in Geoengineering Watch and you'll find his channel. Also, Jacob Israel, he's here. Go to his channel. Dana Ashley's here. Go to her channel. Subscribe to both of them. Let's listen to what Dane here says, because I want to show you the difference so you understand when you're looking up in the sky today and you're seeing clouds that you've never seen before. And people say, oh, well, that's just this cloud. And they give you different names. And because it's named and they talk about it like, oh, we've done this before. It's not that big a deal. We've known about this for years. We've been doing this forever. forever. No, listen.
And water resources for food and agriculture. Conclusion, systems at breaking point. The report highlights the challenges that lie ahead in feeding a global population that should near 10 billion by 2050, they say. Never going to happen. We will be lucky if any of us are here by the end of this decade, based on current mathematical and statistical trajectories.
Yeah, so he is 1,000% convinced that we won't be here, that the catastrophic damage that they're causing will make it impossible for us to live outside of a metaverse. You copy?
How can this reality be so incredibly invisible to so many?
And by the way, that's exactly what our sky looked like this morning. I've got a picture I'll show you.
So blindly accept whatever they're told, and this type of completely false conclusion from the United Nations, not surprisingly, as if we're all going to be going to Disneyland by 2050. We're not going to have a habitable planet by the end of this decade on the current trajectory. That's not my opinion. Again, it's a statistical mathematical fact. Ozone layer collapsing. We've lost 70% of Earth's wildlife populations in the last 40 years. We're down 80 to 90% on global insect populations, terrestrial and aquatic. We've lost about 90% of global pelagic fish populations, i.e. the fish food. Salmon populations collapsing all over the globe. We've lost 98% of the bluefin tuna populations. I could go on and on and on. It's a cascading collapse, and it's accelerating by the day. It is not a linear equation. We will not be here much longer on the current course. And if you don't believe that, you will soon. Wait and see.
Yeah, wait, hide and watch.
Next headline is mentioned at the beginning of this broadcast from newsbreak.com. Researchers build a, quote, black box for Earth to record its eventual demise. In fact, its near-term demise on the current course. The report states researchers are building what they say is an indestructible black box. The purpose of the box is to record events leading to Earth's eventual demise for future generations to reference. The location of the black box remains a secret. Wow. I don't really know where to start on that. What a glaring red flag regarding the insanity of so-called academia. Researchers and scientists building a black box to record Earth's demise for future generations to reference, given their own conclusion, which is statistically correct, even in the near term, this decade, in fact. What future generations would that be exactly? Answer, there won't be any, short of a complete course correction by the human race. Again, for the record, the single most environmentally destructive human activity of all, climate intervention operations. Let's rewind to this 2017 report from sciencealert.com that states it's official. There are now 12 new cloud types to fall in love with.
Listen, there are now 12 new cloud types. 12 new cloud types. So you're not crazy when you look up into the sky. And this is their own documentation. This is academia telling you there's all these new cloud types, but it's all caused by us here on the ground, us minions, right? No, it's caused by them. Do you understand that this is essentially the Tower of Babel? Trying to reach God and destroy this. So some people would say, oh, they're trying to destroy the matrix we live in. They could be. That could be their success. And somebody else is trying to build a new one for us to go into. There are crazy things to think about this. And this is why we talk about these things on this channel. And people, they'll complain and say, oh, well, I thought you were a Christian channel and you're supposed to be talking about Jesus. We do constantly. But we have to show you why you need to hear his words and what he was preparing you for right now. You're literally living in the days of Christ. You must prepare yourself. You've got to go inside yourself. You've got to find yourself. You have to find Christ within you. If you don't, all of this stuff is going to be so disturbing. And so now you will understand that you'll be walking around and doing greater things that Christ did, because the minds of people, when all of these things, the people that are completely asleep, that don't listen to this channel, that don't listen to any of this, those people are going to be completely mentally shattered. The great falling away is the lack of spiritual activity completely, where you would doubt. They will create the situation where every single person will doubt any bit of faith they had, unless you understand that Christ was telling you about right now. If you don't understand that, you're going to be I mean, completely wiped out mentally and spiritually. And I believe that today we're existing almost exclusively on the oil that we've had. So store up. So Dane is talking about these clouds, these new clouds.
They say. The report states it's not every day that the world officially recognizes a new species of cloud, or in this case, 12 new, never before seen cloud types. The World Meteorological Day and the UN's official weather body observed the occasion by recognizing 12 new types of cloud and cloud features, including asperitas, the wave-like cloud structure that makes it look like the world is underwater, as if the sky were the surface of the ocean.
Now, that's what that is right there. This was last week in Michigan. This is a tweet. So that right there, never saw those as a kid, ever. And that's exactly what he was talking about.
Final statement in the ScienceAlert.com report. Quote, it's a great day if you love gazing at the sky and there are plenty of new clouds. How many times, for those who know climate engineering is ongoing, for those who have eyes to see this elephant in the sky, how many times have you had someone walk up and say, what a lovely day it is when the sky's a full-blown grid pattern? And I simply can't respond positively to that kind of question. I reply with, no, it's not a lovely day to live under a toxic canopy of filth.
Now this right here, this picture that he has, right? That's not even a cloud. They'll tell you that that's a contrail. But have you ever seen a condensation trail grow? How do you increase the size? That only happens by having those particulates sprayed into the sky and then Harp heating them up, creating more clouds. This is the whole point. They have engineered weather to such a degree that they can't stop doing it, because if they stop, everything will be disrupted because they've already altered the patterns. Now they're responsible for a country getting water and having crops. So they can cause that. And of course, these people think they're God. That's the whole point. So I'm not going to continue with his too much more. This is from with Dane. I suggest you go there again, geoengineeringwatch.org. And we're going to be bringing people on. I see that we've got Robbins Hood, Justin Michael, Z-Dub. We've got some folks waiting in the wings. I'm going to put the link to join in chat again, as I just did. And we will get to you. I want to hear all of your comments if you've got comments or experiences, and particularly any of you that were in the area where these tornadoes happened. We would love to hear from you. But let's look at this. So this is Harp, Induced Ionosphere Ducts. And if you read this abstract, and this is from the U.S. Department of Energy, okay, this is right from their site. It is well known that strong electron heating by a powerful HF facility can lead to the formation of electron and ion density perturbations that stretch across the magnetic field line. Those density perturbations can serve as ducts for ELF waves. That's what you were watching in that guy's video, in that radar. So again, this link will also be in the description box, so you can take a look at that. But let's read here just very quickly. MSN weather, and this is talking about these tornadoes. And you go down here and it says, as a cold front attached to the zone of low pressure encountered the exceptionally warm, unstable air Friday evening, numerous thunderstorms erupted with temperatures in the 70s to near 80. The atmosphere didn't know it was December, tweeted Craig CC, a researcher in meteorology at Mississippi State University. Memphis soared to 79 degrees, 26 degrees above average. Just out of the blue, just in time for the storm that they had started to come through. So they took a storm and they intensified it to the degree that a tornado traveled more than 100 miles longer than any other tornado on record. Is this thing on? Can you hear that? Do you understand? Insanity. So, and if you don't believe it happens, well, China, they're telling you it does. So again, all of these are in the future. They're all in the future. Just like in 1956, it was in the future. They were doing it then. China used cutting edge yet controversial cloud seeding technology. Said to have launched rocket shots to seed clouds into the sky, all the way back to that 1956 film. Silver. So they're using silver iodide. We use barium, strontium, and aluminum particles in our cloud seeding technology here. And I'm sure a litany of other things that are toxic and harmful. What is cloud seeding technology? Cloud seeding is a controversial and barely studied technology. Barely studied. Really, it's barely studied. They've been studying it since the 50s, and that's when they made a movie about it with Disney. It's barely studied. We don't know anything about this. It's done by releasing chemicals like silver iodide. Just, you can't make this stuff up, man. I love this little picture of this little tiny airplane they have. Yeah, like that's what they used. Did it work? Of course it worked. And it was to clear out the pollution. And then it rained right after. And by the way, they all just happen to have their water ponchos here. So just so you know, I went to Beijing before the Olympics in Beijing when I was with Paramount Pictures. And let me just tell you something. It's if you want to know how this all, how they operate. When I was there was this incredible forest. And the government official that was with us, executives that came from Paramount, were talking about the forest. And I said, it's beautiful. It's amazing. A forest. I'm talking a full-blown forest. They moved the forest to Beijing. They moved an entire forest. Now, how do you do that? Well, I don't know, 1 billion slaves maybe. So who knows what goes on there? You know, I heard something and somebody said to me, have you ever seen a pregnant woman in China? It's kind of odd. Just think about that. Haven't. Maybe they keep that secret. Maybe they grow their people already there. Maybe they don't actually have them anymore, which is precisely what Deborah Tavares was talking about with that NASA, except this is the early stages of it, that they would take the baby from their mother and put them in the pod. But this is going to happen here. Trust me, it gets way worse with what they're doing with just, they're not doing it just to remove the bad weather. Incredible. So this was, let me go to here and I'll make this a little bit larger. This was our sky first thing this morning when I woke up. This is right outside our front door. It was incredible. I mean, everywhere. This was just one spot that I could get the shot, but everywhere. This is what's happening, folks. It is not a good thing. This is not a good thing, and it's going to get worse. And so, I mean, how many times? Well, I have too many there. How many times And how many things are we going to have to go through over the course of the next 2 or 3 years? So let me jump out of this now, and we're going to go and start talking to some folks because I'd like to get your guys' opinions. So first, I'm going to go to Z-Dub. Z-Dub, you ready? You ready?
Do it.
How you doing, Z-Dub? What do you think? What do you think? Are they just trying to kill us? We love Z-Dub.
I was there this morning when I got up. All those clouds are looking just like yours. I'm just down the hill from you. That's what got me going when 4 or 5 years ago over Cottonwood. It was so bad. I took pictures of it, and I ended up getting educated at that moment of what was going on, and that was my eye opener. Tried to let the family know what I was seeing. That's a little difficult to do. You line upon line, here a little, there a little, over 4 years, and I finally have a couple waking up, which is a blessing.
Well, that's happening more. That's happening more and more, Z-Dub. That's, in fact, I was just talking to my brother, and he has a detailing business. He details cars, and he said all of his clients, and he's in Arizona here as well, and he said all of his clients that used to be completely asleep, he said all of them, everybody's awake now. Everybody is seeing this, but what are you going to do about it?
Yeah. Well, your temple knows it's there. You brace yourself, as we talked before about what's coming. When you know it's coming, and you can prepare your mind, you can prepare your situation, your family, things that you need to do, your heart. You know it's coming. The optics of everything is so out of control. So you find peace in knowing that Father's love is where the direction that we need to go. Everybody's going to be forced into this little funnel hole. They're going to be hit so hard, they're going to be trying to get through, and they can't. They're going to need people that's going to have the spirit level to handle the type of destruction that's going to be coming in the next 2-3 years, as Naughty Beaver, Jacob Israel, a lot of people, yourself, are awakening people to what's really coming, what's really ahead, that people will be killing themselves. And it's hard to think of, but if you don't put your mind in that situation to accept what's going to be happening, you're going to be part of the problem. So I've decided to look at my heart, the 6-foot toroidal field that it has to generate the love, be around people, love people more, and to share what I feel, what I know is that we're being taken care of. We're here at this time. We're here knowing what we know, and I'm ready, and I'm hoping to help people get ready just by sharing that. So,
well, I can tell you, you know what, like I've been saying, and I was saying to Matthew when he was here the other day, and you probably heard me say multitudes of times, that people will be so dumbfounded. They will be lost at levels that you've not seen before. And as a result, because you're not, you will seem like the most collected person they've ever seen on earth, because everybody's going to be devastated like them. And you will be able to touch them. They will think they're sick. They will think they're ill. You'll be able to tell them, you're not ill, you're clean, you're fine. Stand up and walk, pick up your mat, come this way, follow me. You'll be able to say those things, and they will pick up their mat. They will no longer be sick. They will not be able to comprehend how this is working. They won't. They just will not.
No.
And so I'm going to jump here. I'm going to pause you. Stick around, Z-Dub. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to jump in. I'm going to go to Robin's Hood here. Robin, are you ready?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfect now. It looks like everything's working again, man. Good to see your face.
Loud and clear, right?
Yes.
On Twitter, it's 7 seconds behind from Twitter to the YouTube. So I clicked on the Twitter link. That way I don't know if that's an issue from between
before.
YouTube and yeah.
Yeah, well, we got that
It may have
solved.
been.
We hear you perfect now. We've got in the waiting, we've got Justin, we've got Blossom. So stick around, folks. We're going to get to you guys. But Robin, what do you think of all of this? Have you paid attention to the weather manipulation? Is that something that you've I know that you've focused on some other things. You've focused on finding Enki and Enlil and Enoch and Elijah and you know, and you've discovered some very realistic things. I'll just tell you.
Yeah. Well, it's funny that I see those 3 videos that you put up. I was just researching them on my before I hopped on here so I can have something to talk about. But you can't even make this stuff up, where those 3 exact videos, the one where how China manipulated the weather conditions, I was watching that right before you put that on. And with, was it Neil deGrasse? Yeah, I was watching him too. I mean, I don't really think that any of it is actually from like the perception how people say who God is, just a spirit in the sky. I think it's all man-made. Every last bit of it.
No question about it. And my daughter is calling me here. My youngest daughter's calling me while I'm doing a show. And so you can see her there. She's calling me on FaceTime. So I'm like, I'm just going to show. That's my youngest daughter right there. That's Mia. So I got to hang up with her because I'm in the middle of the show, baby. I'll call you after. I just wanted to pick it up because she'd appreciate that I brought her on. So when you saw it, so what you're saying, you can't make this stuff up, that you were looking at the same videos that I showed after. So you saw those beforehand.
Yeah. It's in my search history. I mean, you believe me, so you can just go look at it and you'll see all 3 of them. Same exact ones.
Yeah, I know how that works.
Yeah.
Well, awesome, man. So if you haven't gone over and checked out Robin's channel, Robin does some interesting work. He's followed me for a little while. He's had some things trying to figure me out, but I love him. He's a great guy. We got to talk on the phone. We've had a couple of different conversations. Very, very sweet man. Let me see, who else do we have coming in here? So stick around, Robin. We're going to bring everybody in here after. I just want to give everybody a shot here. So Justin Michael, are you ready? Howdy, brother. I know your face.
Hey, Derek.
How you doing, man?
How are you doing?
Good. What do you think of all of this?
I wanted to go back to what you were saying about cloud seeding for a minute, because it's public knowledge that the United Arab Emirates does it. They do it multiple times a year.
All the time.
But it's like known. It's like for or it's like because it's such a drought there that it's like scheduled by their government. It's like public knowledge. So it can't be like not studied. There's a government that uses it multiple times a year.
Yeah,
and you just Google it.
Well, and they could justify it for themselves, right? Hey, we don't get any rain here. We live in the middle of the desert. But see, here's the thing. They say that, that climate change is happening as a result of the activities of us humans. Of course it is. But see, they're pointing your fingers at us. So this is the gaslighting. And then they tell us that cloud seeding and all of this stuff isn't happening. It's incredible. Yeah. It's incredible. It's truly incredible to witness. I never thought that I would see such a thing.
We're on a game board.
Oh, this is 100% a game, and we're all being played, and it's become, and this is what's happening. This is why people are waking up, that it has become a, it's a bad B movie. We always say, and the actors are getting worse and worse, right? We're watching this movie, and for us to say, oh, look, this is happening. So keep this in mind, folks. They are writing history in motion. They are making the things they're saying the things, they're posting it, they're doing all of this stuff. And they'll tell you right to your face, you'll say, oh, they're cloud seeding. Oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. That doesn't take place. That doesn't happen. And who will say that? The authorities. But yet you can go to their website and they say they're doing it. Just like the CDC, right?
It's all in that deck of cards Jacob Israel was showing. Richie from Boston was showing that years ago. Them cards, it's all on there. It's in order.
Yeah, Richie from Boston was showing that. Yeah, he was doing that as well.
That's why we call it the tribulation of man. It's man-made.
Mhm.
And, when people think that that comes from the Father, but that tribulation is a man-made tribulation.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I believe that 100%.
Well, stick around, Justin. We're going to bring you back in when we bring the whole Brady bunch in. I'm going to go over here to Blossom Swan. Blossom, are you ready?
Yes. Yes, I am. How are you?
Good to see you.
It's good to see you.
So tell us from your perspective what you think of all of this.
Well, I have
are we
been
all
trying
crazy?
to spread around to everybody this newfound truth that I have, but it doesn't seem to be going too well. I'm getting a lot of kickback from everybody, and they're telling me I'm deceived and I need to be saved, and I don't know the Holy Spirit. So
welcome to the world of Jesus Christ.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's exactly what happened to him, right?
I've been watching some videos on YouTube from a couple pastors who are crying out and saying, like, these churches need to wake up because Christ had already came and reigned for 1,000 years. These mansions that were built didn't have toilets, didn't have running water, didn't have fireplaces, no heat, no nothing. All these beautiful mansions that were built during the Dark Ages, which were called Dark Ages. It's like 1,000 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I started watching this, and the more that I'm finding out, the more that I'm searching and seeking, like I had told you last time I was on, the eclipses that happened, that is the sun that was turned to black as sackcloth. The water being turned bitter into salt, as we've seen with Lot's wife. Lot's wife was a pillar of salt. Okay. The dens, there's lots of dens in the sides of mountains. That's, if you look, tribulation has already happened. Christ already returned and reigned on the earth for 1,000 years. And he said it himself. He said that in your generation, those who pierced me shall see my return. I will be here in your generation. That's what, 40 to 70 years? That's not 2,000. He wasn't speaking to a generation 2,000 years in advance. He was speaking to them people, his disciples, in that time. And people are not understanding that. We're in the time where Satan is loosened to deceive the nations one last time. I believe 100%. 100%. And they have to reenact the tribulation and all these. That's why everything is man-made. The birds dying, it's all chemicals. It's chemtrails that they're putting in the air. All the water is being corrupted and disgusting, that you can't even drink clean water anymore. Yeah. All this stuff is a tribulation that's being reenacted for us to fall for the enemy again. It's all about getting and reaping souls.
Blossom, you're not the only one who thinks that. There are a lot of writers. Who wrote the book, Derek, that I just read, you guys? It was Satan, the Prince of this World. What was his name? He wrote back in the 50s.
Great book.
He felt the same way. So that is not so. Folks who are listening to this, don't lose your minds about that belief, because Blossom, you're spot on. And Derek and I've actually talked about this. We've talked about the scripture that says if one can put 1,000 to flight, two could put 10,000 to flight. And if you think about Jesus, the sacrificial Jesus, that story, then if he put 1,000 years of Satan, if he locked up Satan for 1,000 years, what would happen if the two witnesses died and then he put 10,000 years to flight? So just some fodder, just things to think about. These are things we openly discuss. So all positions are welcomed here. I love the fact that you have your mind open to listening to those things, because guess what? It's going to look very different than we all think. Right. And so we don't have to worry that we're wrong, because the Spirit of God will not lead us the wrong way. We just have to be open and keep our minds and our hearts and our spirits open to the Spirit of God to reveal these things to us. After all, like Derek says, that's what the apocalypse is. It's a revealing. You study it in churches and it seems so great and it sounds so good and it tastes so sweet in your mouth. But man, when you digest that stuff and it gets down to the pit of your stomach, you're like, oh crap, I don't know. You have more questions questions, not fewer questions. And I love that. And I think that that's really the place where we have to all converge, because that's really what Jesus was talking about. If you go back and read the words of Jesus right now, you're like, wow, he was living in exactly the same kind of time period that we are living in now, right?
Right. Well, he also said, you will not get through the cities of Jerusalem before my return. I mean, that's not a very long time. That, there's so many scriptures throughout the Bible that state that he was speaking to his disciples and telling them their generation shall not pass away, not a generation 2,000 years in advance. It's very simple.
Well, he was talking about another reset, right? That reset.
Yeah.
Right. So the return happened because when people woke up to the fact. So that's the whole point, is that there is nothing new under the sun. These are repetitive things. They take place. It happens over and over. They've done this more than once. This is how you know there's an enemy.
Over and over. Like they've been doing it for God knows how long. Millions of years. Who knows?
This isn't a conspiracy of some politicians in DC. They are being used by somebody far more powerful. And believe me, there are those that are in power that do communicate with the enemy. I mean, look, they're announcing in Israel right now, in the Israel Times and all that they've identified the Messiah, and they're going to be talking to him soon and revealing who he is.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Oh yeah, they're going to do this.
I believe he might be sitting in Antarctica, because there's something there that they're keeping from us, and they got a seed vault with every seed that's on the planet Earth stored there too.
Well, think about this. Just like in the book of Enoch, where it says that that Azazel cast him into the pit and cover him up with jagged rocks. Jagged rocks. Well, jagged rocks could also be 7 miles of ice, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to probably thaw his ass out of there with all of this weather manipulation. I'm kidding.
I believe it. Absolutely. But I just wanted to put that out there. I got a couple links I'll put in, and maybe people can, take a look and see. It doesn't mean that you're not saved. It's not a saving issue. There, it says in the Bible that people will reign with Christ in their human form.
Yes. Hold on 1 second. Oh, I'm sorry. I popped you out of there. I was trying to bring everybody in here. Now we got everybody, and I'm bringing Future Fields Forever.
Hey, Justin.
Hey, so there's Justin. So Future
What's up,
Fields.
Robin?
Let's let Future Fields Forever have her shot and bring her on. So what do you think, Future Fields?
I've been reading a book about I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this stuff right, so I'm just reading it. Cathars and the Bogomils, and how France inherited Octania, and how they were running to Germany, and people like us, actually heretics, I guess, people that aren't going with the church, they actually were the reason the printer presses even got going, because they were destroying all the documents going all the way back to the Library of Alexandria. And I'm just like, wow, all these martyrs that I'm reading, this shit the stuff they did. I mean, the most evil stuff to the children and the women. I mean, horrid stuff that the church did in the name of God. I'm just like, wow, God, I hope we have courage. I just wanted to hit that note, because when they do those no-hide laws and crap, it's a bit bad.
Oh yeah. So the Noahide laws. See, this is what people don't understand. What you just said is the Khazars, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Khazars. There is
which is the root of czar.
Yeah, czar. Khazars.
Okay.
So here, I'm going to give everybody a little bit of an assignment. Go and look up every single prime minister's name of Israel, and then research what their real name is. All of these authorities, and not just them, but even other authority figures or very popular Israelis in the political system. Just go and look up their real names, because guess what? Benjamin Netanyahu, not his real name.
Grew up in America.
Yeah, grew up in America, not his real name. You find out that his real name is, I don't know, Russian. So
there are a lot of Russian names.
A lot of Russian names. Okay, so the Khazars. And if you understand where Khazaria is, right now you've got what's happening with the Ukraine, right? Okay, so we're on the verge of a war right now. A whole bunch of them. Wars and rumors of wars, right? We've got Taiwan. If Russia takes Ukraine, China's going to take Taiwan, and Israel's going to take Iran. So these are the wars and rumors of wars. But Ukraine is that's where the Khazars are from. But also keep this in mind, folks. Here's the thing. Remember the whole political season with Trump, and then they were saying that he was trying to strong arm the Ukrainian oligarchs when it was really Biden that was doing that? You remember that? And all of that, and the Burisma and all of the billions of dollars that were being transferred and all of that. Okay, so just remember this. I told Malia, I said, the Ukraine is building 7 of the political system right now. Building 7 was the building that wasn't hit by a plane that collapsed after. And if you knew the residents of Building 7, it was the CIA, the FBI, the NSA. They're the ones that coordinated that on those buildings. And so they had to destroy the evidence of that by destroying Building 7 because it was all coordinated from there. The Ukraine is the same way. The money laundering in order to accomplish what they're doing right now has all gone through the Ukraine. So we're just very happy. In fact, people think, oh, it's Russia being aggressive towards the Ukraine. It isn't. This is us provoking Russia. We are all over there. We are moving our lines. That's why he said, you're crossing lines here. We have violated do you remember when the Iron Curtain fell and Reagan negotiated the deal? Right, basically the peace agreement, and what we would and would not do if they disbanded the Soviet Union. We have violated every agreement, including with what we're doing with Ukraine. So we said that we would not partner with any of those territories. So when we're doing this and we're pushing them to be a part of NATO, when we're putting our forces on that line, we are provoking Russia to defend itself. Russia's not the bad guy if they go into Ukraine.
That's right.
It'll be us.
What could Joe Biden want to be destroyed in the Ukraine, Derek? I wonder.
And people are asking to see your beautiful face. I brought you in a few times here.
Yes.
I brought you in a few times there. Everybody wants to see Malia.
Mm-hmm. She's so pretty.
She's beautiful, isn't she?
Thank you. That's very kind. Thank you.
I think people with Christ in them, they just look prettier for some reason.
You know, that's true, isn't it?
That's a fact.
Isn't that a beautiful?
It's true. I mean, just beautiful, like inside out. Pretty, yeah.
And you know, I think that's something that people are going to see in us. I don't know about all of you, but Derek and I get phone calls on a daily basis from folks in our previous professions. Derek in Hollywood, I was in Florida on TV, and people start to say those things. They go, how in the world are you holding on to peace and calm? And, even family members of mine who normally probably would have thought I was crazy or whatever. But because I always ask the questions, Blossom, just like you, like I was willing to look outside of the box and go, but what if it was this, and I guess I probably annoyed a lot of pastors and Bible teachers along the way. And, I didn't care, because for me, being authentic was the most important thing. And I think I see that in all of you. And that's why I say we do not change one set of dogma for another set of dogma, right? So it's real important that you stay outside of that box of graven images that we know what things are going to look like. So we just are so grateful for all of you. And so thank you for those kind comments. We really appreciate it. And I love this format, Derek. It's nice. I love seeing your faces and putting your handles with your faces.
I can go if you want other people to get on. I was happy to say hi.
Oh, thank you.
No, we're
love
limited.
You all, so thank you so much.
That way someone else can join.
Yes, the StreamYard limits how many people we can bring on. So we're not going to be on here much longer. We're going to look at your guys' face, and get your last inputs before we end the show. We've been going an hour and a half, and that's a long time.
Yeah.
So how about any last thoughts? We've got
I have a thought.
I know. Who is that? Z-Dub? Shoot.
I want to say thank you to Dana Ashley if she's near or listening. She's helped me out. I've got 2 kids that are in the hospital, pretty serious condition with the coronavirus stuff, and she gave me some information that helped me and my family. So thank you, Dana, if you're out there, and thanks to all those that keep sending the love around to each other. A phrase of mine that I keep putting out there is, love is the whole and you are its pieces, by Rumi, the poet. And we all just need to keep connecting, keep loving, keep growing that love, and appreciate one another. And hopefully we'll get through this and see each other on the other side. Much love to everybody. Thank you, Derek, for all you do. And Malaya, you're precious as precious can be. Thank you.
Love you, Z-Dub.
All right, Z-Dub, we'll drop him off there, and we'll go to last thought from Justin. Michael, you got any last thoughts?
Yeah, I just want to thank you, Derek and Malia, for doing this. It's cool. I don't see too many people just dropping the link out there and letting anybody hop on. So I hope you keep doing this. This is pretty cool.
Z-Dub, I kicked you off there before, but Dana Ashley said, "Oh, thanks. I'm not able to join because my Google password won't work." God bless you, brother. So that was for Z-Dub. Hold on. Let me bring you back in. There, you see that, Z-Dub?
Did you see that, Z-Dub?
She's a sweetheart. Love her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
she sure is. She glows. She definitely has that inner glow, doesn't she?
Top of the world.
Anybody that is standing in Christ, that understand where we're at. And this is what I mean. We're going to experience something that you can't even comprehend you've experienced. When you start seeing people shattered mentally, spiritually, literally, they won't be able to pick themselves off the ground. They won't. Because when all of this stuff collapses, think about how hard it was for all of you to wake up when you first started realizing these things, and then how hard it was to maintain it because everybody fights against you. Your family member, you're idiots, you're nuts. And now it's even worse because now they've turned the vexed against the unvexed. They've turned or the climate change deniers versus those that know it's BS. I mean, everything is a division. They are doing this to everybody. So think about when all of this collapses on everyone instantaneously, and they believed and they fought and they denied their own children, their own kids, and kids denied their own parents over this. And then when everything is revealed, imagine the heartache. Imagine, you want to talk about people killing themselves. And this is where this comes from. Death will flee from them. They won't be able to die. They won't even know how. So it's a pretty remarkable thing. So last final words from Robin's Hood.
Yeah, I wanted to thank Justin. I have it written in my notes here that I was going to thank him because he's the one that turned me on to your channel about over 3 years ago. And without him, I probably wouldn't even have been watching. So thank you, Justin.
That's awesome. I appreciate that, Justin. I didn't know that.
I told a lot of people about your channel. Robin just one of the only ones that actually went and looked. Yeah, most people don't listen to me, Derek.
And thanks for bringing me on, Derek, considering that utter disaster that I had not being able to talk 7 seconds behind. I appreciate you bringing it back on.
That's okay. You know that stuff doesn't bother me.
I know.
I'm not so formal that everybody thinks I'm all formal. Trust me, everything if we have problems, we roll with it. That's the whole point. So
I also used to think that you weren't actually doing live streams, that it was recorded. But then I learned that, you're definitely doing live streams and it's completely legit.
So I have a funny story about last week's live stream. So while Derek was mid-sentence, my little chihuahua got sick all over the floor. I mean, it was bad. You guys, it smelled.
Was when I was up.
And Derek never missed. He's so professional. He never missed a beat. And I thought, how in the world is he not knowing this is awful? That's a real story.
Yeah. So that was a 2.5 hour show. And for 2 hours, I smelt that because she started to clean a little while, but she had to get the dog out.
I think I was quiet. So
yeah. And the amazing part is this dog's only like 9 or 10 pounds, right? Just a little, she's a long haired Chihuahua. So I'm not kidding you. Yeah, she must have left. Awful. She must have left 6 pounds of vomit and poop. I've never seen anything like that. I mean, we keep
it real here, right?
We have a 90-pound pit bull that is the sweetest thing ever. I don't think he could accomplish that.
No.
Incredible.
So if you've heard a dog like going, that's due to pause. So if you ever hear that in the background, that's
Yeah,
our
it's not
pit bull
it's not a
laying at my
demon.
feet, chewing on his feet.
It's not a demon. You know, it's amazing. If I don't know whether you guys remember when I had the parrot, somebody gave it to me for a birthday present, and I had this parrot, beautiful, beautiful parrot, and I named the parrot Tora. And Tora wouldn't say a word, would not make a peep all day long. The second I started recording something, he started doing things, and he would start cussing. So he would start cussing. This bird, whoever gave it to me, they were like, I couldn't believe it. They were like, I was like, oh my God, I can't do this.
And I thought I was the only one who dropped the F-bomb on the air.
Yeah, no, it was crazy. And but people would speculate because he'd be in the background, they hear him go, and they would go, demons, and there's demons on his show. I was like, it's a bird, people.
That's
it's
awesome.
A bird. So yeah, so it's funny. So Malia Bros, I'm sending you a picture of my new Chihuahua Terrier mix. Yes. Oh, that's
Please
great,
do.
Catherine, that you
We
got.
love puppies.
And we love Catherine Willie.
Hey,
She's
Katie
awesome.
Jo, we love her. She's going to be coming on Rightly Divided soon. You guys, we're going to be rolling out Rightly Divided. We're going to be doing more interviews one-on-one with folks to introduce you, tell more about your story and your testimony, because we know that's how we overcome, right? By the words of our testimony. And I don't think folks realize how powerful their own testimony is. We all kind of fall into that slump of thinking, well, I'm not as articulate as that or whatever. But we do want to bring on several of you, as many as we can, to tell your testimony. You never know how many people it can reach. Like Dana always says, she got saved kind of in a, I say saved because I'm a Southern Baptist girl, from the get-go. And, but she talks about how she was awakened. That's probably more colloquial. But she was in the live chat. And so how important that is for people to share their stories. And we love you all, and you all give so much to us, and we would love to share those stories. So if any of you are interested, please email us at the Global Witness at Proton. What is the
Proton Mail?
Proton Mail. Some of you have reached out. We would love to do more intense interviewing with you guys, and maybe even put together something that's like a one show where we do 2 or 3 different ones. So we'll see what that looks like.
Yes, and I'm contemplating waking up in the morning and coming before you guys in a robe and just reading the news off of Drudge,
like he does to me. All right.
So we're gonna leave it at that. I wanted to say, if you guys want to see Dana Ashley on this channel and Rightly Divided, tell her now. Say
yes,
we
would
want to
love
see
her
Dana.
story.
Yes, we've been planning on having Dana on the show for a long time, but and there she is, AZ, my pleasure. So she's there. So Dana, you got to come on the show.
Yeah.
Let's do a show and let's talk. I want to catch up, and I'm sure everybody wants to hear from you. And of course, all of our followers are yours, so it's not like it's a strange audience or anything.
Yeah.
All right, folks. So I just want to tell you how much I appreciate you. We broke 83,000 subscribers. We're a tiny channel compared to like Dana and Jacob Israel and all of these folks. We're just puny. So hold on. I'm seeing if Dana is accepting the invitation. It looked like she said that she would, but you could see.
She said yes.
You could see her. Okay, awesome. Great. So everyone, we love you so much. And Robin, I want
Derek, I got one more thing to say.
Yeah, for sure.
If you had any encouragement, either you or Malia, for my wife, because she wasn't fully accepting of my YouTube, career in the beginning.
Yeah.
She's been more recently, but the main thing was she didn't understand how just words could make a difference with anybody. And with you and Malia, you just work together. You do the research together. I don't do any research with her. It's just me here. But if you had either one of you, if you had any encouraging words for her.
I can address that personally.
She can, yes.
Thank you.
I would tell you that, yes, and I appreciate your candor there. I would tell you that she influences you so much more than you know, and she probably doesn't realize that. And probably some of your greatest thoughts and postulations have actually originated with her communication with you.
Yeah, definitely.
Imagine, see, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And because I struggle with that too, I'm like, how do I fit in? Because all these people, Derek, you had such a huge following before I got here, and so that's been challenging for me, and I've had to walk myself through that by the Spirit and with the help of the Holy Spirit. So absolutely, have her email me. I will be happy to talk to her on the phone. Derek and I, we can do a Zoom conference. We do that a lot, and we would love to talk to both of you.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. She will
Yeah,
too.
of course. So I'm going to, somebody
And
put this
just-
question up here. Scripture says repent. Okay. Do you know what repent means? I can't really read the name. Heard this truth. I guess that's it. Upside down question mark. Repent means turn away, alter, turn away, right? So repentance isn't getting on your knees and going, please forgive me, God, please, 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 because that's not it. God's already forgiven you. The reality is you haven't forgiven yourself. You need to accept forgiveness of yourself. The hardest thing you will ever encounter, ever, is forgiving yourself. Don't worry about God. You're just accepting something that's already been granted. And that's the fact of it. You know, it's incredible that I see so many dogmatic pieces. And I'm not saying that was a dogmatic statement. It does say that. But the point is be careful how you're speaking to people today. Because imagine how confused they are. Imagine what the church, the organized church, has done to people. It's all fear-based, and it's all a control mechanism. Please, please, when you speak to people, do not leave your dogma of the church and accept a different dogma that you feel that you've gotten now by being awake. Don't do that. Don't even be dogmatic about chemtrails and things like that. Don't.
Be malleable.
Yeah, and just so they're easier. So you're not a threat to them, because when you come to people so dogmatically, you become a threat.
Yeah.
Just stay in love. Don't be dogmatic. And, you know, Christ said that in the scriptures, you think that there is salvation. You search the scriptures. It's not there. Salvation is not in the scriptures. It's inside of you.
Mm-hmm.
Period. You can read and you can translate and you can do interpretations and you can research. You can do all of that stuff. You're not going to find salvation in that. You can look up everything. Just because we've read that, that's not how I found salvation.
Mm-hmm.
Salvation comes by Christ intervening in you when you literally seek him so deeply within inside yourself and understand exactly who you are. When you accept the position of Christ and you sit in that seat. When he said, be like me. Father, all of me is in you and all of you is in me, and I want them. He wants you to have exactly what he has. Not part of it, not some of it. Now, the Antichrist at this point becomes the church that says you can't be Christ. I can tell you right now, before we end this show, you better be. You better be, because it's coming. I love you all much, and I cannot wait to do this again. We'll see you soon, okay?
Thank you
Love you
for
too.
allowing me to come on, and I probably won't be on again to bug you, but I
Why not?
appreciate
We
you.
love having you on.
I absolutely appreciate you guys letting me speak my truth, and it means the world to me, because I've been shut down everywhere else, and you guys are great, and I love you both. I've been watching you, Derek, since you first started on YouTube, and you're awesome, and I love you both. Thank you very much.
We love you too.
We love you too. We love all of you. Thank you so much for
Thank
joining.
you.
And if you have not subscribed, folks, click the subscribe button, share. It really helps. If you want to know what to do, people ask me all the time, how can I help advance the kingdom? Share this, share it, send it to people. Who cares if you offend them? Let me be the person that offends them. Send them the videos. We love you very much, and we'll see you again very, very soon.